All right, Snapshots listeners. Today, I'm sharing some of the dumbest things I've seen hockey players do during the offseason. If you avoid these mistakes, you'll immediately put yourself ahead of many players who jump and fall into the trap of hockey off seasons. Now, this episode of Snapshots is brought to you by Mr. Lemon Wax, hand poured, US made wax for your stick that does a tremendous job of giving the tack, the feel that you need. Grip it and rip it with Mr. Lemon Wax. And also brought to you by the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Check out their website today and join a huddle with one of their organizations today. Now, dumbest things I've seen happen in the offseason. Number one, training like you're already good enough. I got a funny story now. Tim Kuhns is my business partner. He's the co-owner of the New England Wolves with me. And he always used to tell stories of the summers on Long Island. That's where he's originally from. I'm originally from New Jersey. We both live here in New Hampshire. He lives here in Guilford as well. But he used to tell stories of when he was growing up and when he was training in college or his pro off seasons. Several professional athletes who were New York Islanders or local athletes would train with him. And, he had stories of Rick DiPietro pulling up in his Ferrari or Porsche or whatever it was. And some of the other guys who were guys who were right on the cusp of making it, becoming great players. And a lot of them would skate for the first 20 minutes of their open of stick and puck or first 20 minutes of a men's league game. And then they would leave the ice. And he always thought it was kind of funny because the only reason that they did that is they wanted that high pace, that high intensity. And once the old guys started to, go at their natural slow pace, the best players were out of there because it dipped too low for them. So if you're training in the off season and you're going half speed all the time, that's a mistake. And you got to kind of recalibrate what you're doing to getting game prepared for high competition. Number two, spending thousands of hours on exposure or higher reaches for your level of play instead of developing your level of play. If you keep getting better, teams come to you. If you keep improving, you won't have to make a team. You'll have offers to play on a team. And that goes really with any level. Any level. It gets me a little bit fired up sometimes when I see kids who are training infrequently, but going and traveling frequently in the summer, going to 5 or 6 NA camps, going for, a big exposure camp out west or out east or up north or wherever it may be. And you're just chasing these opportunities, which you'll have more opportunities come to you if you are a more dynamic player, if you're in better shape, if you're in better condition than your competition. And spending 4 hours on a plane each way, hotels, just to play a few games, you might provide you some opportunities, but they're not going to be the real success stories that you can go. And plus, if you travel all the way all over the place to pursue an NA camp or USHL and you're not at that level, you're just, paying for the free-to-play kids who are, on that roster. You're not actually paying for your own hockey in the future potentially. So think about that in terms of the economics of hockey. Number three, doing hockey 24 hours a day. Just hockey. This is a great recipe for overuse injuries. The summer is a great time to build your body, get stronger, get better conditioned, and get prepared to have an amazing season. But if you're just beating it up on the ice, it's not going to necessarily take you to the level you want to be, and you're putting yourself at risk for overuse injuries. And this is especially true for goalies. Now, during the COVID year, we had Kevin Boyle. He was with the Anaheim Ducks organization. He was playing on their minor league affiliate in San Diego, but he lived out here in Laconia. And he would, text me or text Coach Tim Kuhns, and he would train at our gym, which is right across the street from our home rink. But, a couple times I'd pop him there and say, hey, Kevin, what's going on? Or just, see what he's up to. And then he inevitably was running on the treadmill, lifting weights, stretching. There's not a ton of ice available up here in northern New Hampshire in the summer, except at maybe Plymouth State, as many of the rinks' ice is taken out because of their seasonal availability. But Kevin was doing everything he could to get ready for the season, and it was focusing on his conditioning, his strength, and his pliability, his ability to be nimble and flexible. So kids, if you're doing something different, you're avoiding what the NHL players are doing potentially. Number 4, and this I see a lot of kids, they all want to skate, but avoiding strength training. You're not strength training if you're never moving up in weights. Oftentimes every year I hear, oh, I'm just going to skate my way back into shape. That's not enough anymore. It's just not. You should be training like a hockey player. Hockey is an athletic sport. You need speed, power, balance, strength. The players who ignore this athletic development usually fall behind. I have a wonderful kid who came to us in the 2016-17 season. He was going to play on our U16 team and get some junior games. But he came into camp as a young kid. He didn't really understand how very serious we take that training camp and showing up ready to go. And he said he trained a lot in the summer to get ready for the squat. We had a squat competition type thing, or a standard he had to meet. And on his first rep, the bar went all the way down to the ground and the weight slid off, and it was a mess. And he kind of told me after, he was, very sheepish, had a red face. And he said, Coach, I just kind of did the machine squat instead of free weight squats. I said, well, this is part of that process, is where you learn from it, but you got to practice what you're going to do. So the next year he blew it out of the park, but that was a good learning experience for a young 16-year-old kid coming into a new environment and realizing, I got to step it up here. Now, number 5, and we just finished. This is after, Carolina just won the Stanley Cup. Congratulations to those athletes and that coaching staff and that organization. Kids, you got to be watching playoff hockey. This is the most fun hockey you're going to see all season. And, you want to learn about systems. You want to learn about gameplay. You want to learn about some of the best athletes are doing, coaches. That's a great place to feed your knowledge base, is watching playoff hockey. So, if I see you at the gym and I say, who he got in the finals here this year, I shouldn't hear back who's playing. I should hear back a direct answer, Carolina or Vegas. But we know that Carolina won now. So congratulations to those guys. Analyze your decisions, watch games, learn systems. Hockey IQ can be trained if you're watching enough hockey. Now, let's say you're doing the strength training. Let's say you're doing all the cardio and conditioning and you're watching a bunch of hockey. But you might not have ice. It's a common mistake, common problem players face in the spring and summer. Does that mean you can't shoot? Does that mean you can't stick handle? On one of the episodes of Spit and Chicklets, Rick Tocchet, coach in the NHL now, but prior to that, he was a player, played over 1,000 games, and was a great 200-foot gritty, tough player, rugged player. He talked to the guys on Spit and Chicklets about the biggest jump he made in a couple off seasons was after he had his first dose of like a little bit of success. He got 21 goals in the 86-87 season, and he said that off season he wanted to just shoot pucks. He wanted to become a better goal scorer. So he, was out in his parents' driveway or backyard or wherever it was, and he was hammering pucks, hundreds a day. And as much as technology evolves, as much as techniques evolve, as much as different tools become more accessible, you got to do the work. You still got to do the work. And 88, 89, only 2 years later, he almost doubled that production by having 41 goals instead of the 21 he was at. And he credited that mostly to shooting in his driveway. So if you're a player and you're looking at, a long duration of not getting on the ice, that is no excuse to not improve your game. Get in your driveway, stick handle, shoot, get stronger. You may find that you're even more prepared than if you're just skating. And then the biggest thing I see all the time is the last one here, comparing yourself to everyone else. I grew up on the Jersey Shore, Manasquan, New Jersey. It was a fun place to be around when I was 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, whatever it may be. There's a lot of fun places to go to, a lot of friends in high school who, come back and they want to stay there in the summers, coming back from college. And I fell in the trap too, of looking at how much fun they're having instead of embracing the athlete that I could become if I worked really, really hard in the off season. So don't compare yourself to anybody else. Be like, well, I'm working hard as that guy, or I'm doing as much as this particular person is doing. Set your goals high. You have one chance one chance in your life to be an athlete. And if you're in the middle of it, don't turn those opportunities aside. You have a chance to become the player you can be through hard work, effort, enthusiasm, coachability. So make the most of your off season instead of saying, well, my buddies are having a party tonight and I'm going to do that, or I'm going to go out to Leggett's or the Parker House or DJ's, wherever it may be. Enjoy being an athlete while you can, because once it's over, it's a window that closes quickly and it really doesn't open again. So embrace it. In closing, the players improve the most every summer usually aren't doing anything magical. They're doing simple things consistently: training, recovering, getting stronger, improving their skills, improving their hockey IQ and knowledge, and they avoid the mistakes that keep most players stuck. Don't make summer complicated. Make it productive. I'll see you next week on Snapshots Hockey Podcast. Remember to follow us, like, and subscribe. Make sure you check us out on Spotify and also on YouTube for the Friday Snapshots Hockey Show, which is a direct breakdown of some of the things systemically that you can learn about the game of hockey. And also follow me on the coach's site or Substack. A lot of different places to find me. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in a week.